Back to the late 80s, the government released, the Environmental Protection Department, the EPD, released a study saying that actually according to the survey they had in hand at the time, 80% of the pollution we had in Hong Kong was coming from China. More recently, in 2005, actually a different a study with the same objective was made by Civic Exchange in coordination with University of Science and Technology, based on observations of satellite pictures over several years, and they came to a completely different conclusion. The conclusion, the main figure to remember, was that 53% of the time the pollution we had in Hong Kong was actually generated in Hong Kong. Now, 53% of the time the pollution was essentially generated in Hong Kong. This is a very interesting figure to keep in mind. So actually you have different sorts of air pollution, but what we experience in the streets and every day in Hong Kong does not necessarily come from the Pearl River Delta. We have a very intense transport sector with thousands, tens of thousands of vehicles, diesel vehicles, and sometimes very old ones, producing a lot of pollution, which roam our streets and roads in Hong Kong. We have tens of thousands of buses. Let's not forget that. They are diesel buses. A fraction of them are cleaner, but a large fraction of them are very dirty. We have the marine air pollution, and we have, as we said, the energy sector, which is very polluting. So we have absolutely to forget this old percentage of 80% of the pollution comes from China, and there's nothing we can do about it. This figure is totally obsolete now. We have to keep in mind that roughly 53% of the time we suffer from our air pollution, and that gives us a lot of scope to clean up the air in Hong Kong, to be more proactive and actually show to China, show to the Pearl River Delta what we can actually do. And if we can clean up in Hong Kong, that would be an incentive for them to intensify the cleanup. They have already started actually, but that would be beneficial for the whole of the Pearl River Delta. The main problem we have, and everyone in Hong Kong has, is that electricity in Hong Kong is largely produced by the burning of coal, and coal is a very important source of air pollution, and I would say very nasty particulates and gases that are released in the atmosphere in the combustion of coal to produce electricity. So we have studied actually the whole process of how this has happened, and we only have, as a clean energy source, we only have a rather small fraction of electricity produced by gas, liquid natural gas, LNG as we call it, which is actually a much cleaner fuel. However, the share of electricity produced by gas is rather small, maybe 18 to 20% at most. Most of the time, electricity is produced in burning coal. And this is a major unique source of air pollution. It is the largest source of air pollution in Hong Kong overall. What we have been recommending for the last 3 or 4 years is actually more competition in the energy sector. It means several things. If there would be more competition, if more competition were introduced, that means maybe people from China, we know there's one corporation in China which would be interested in providing electricity to Hong Kong. And if they were able, for instance, to produce electricity in burning gas, we would have then an opportunity for the public to choose the power producer. What we would be advocating in one way is that there would be 2, 3, or 4, why not, producers of electricity, but only one grid. The government would have to purchase the grid and then allow the consumer to choose which supplier they would like to buy their electricity from. This exists in the States to a certain extent in different regions. This would allow competition to enter, and no more, it would leave behind the model we have now of quasi-monopole actually, and allow competition. And as we know, competitions may have benefits, and in this case would be very beneficial to actually choose the cleanest producer or the producer which make the most effort to clean up their way of producing electricity.